in its many forms, uniquely adaptable robust shape, is dominated the Western world. Since its invention 2,000 years ago, its characteristics, able to span long stretches, carry incredible loads, and withstand the ravages of time, all while being composed of the simplest materials, make it the most enjoying building form to man. No other shapes comes close to the arc and its relatives, the vault, cylinder, and the dome, for efficiency. But there was a time when such structures were unknown.
The arch can carry enormous weight and is purely a compression structure. That is, it can withstand pressure. The more force that's applied, the more compressed the arch becomes. On the other hand, if you apply tension to it, it loses its strength rapidly. As the legs of the arch begin to spread, the arch can collapse. The secret of stability in arch design is to contain the forces, or the line of thrust as it's called. As long as the line of force is contained inside the structure of the arch, or terminates at the arch supports, it can stand practically forever. But if the line of force moves outside the arch, because of increased loads or changes in shape, it will fail. The Romans understood this. Arches come in all sizes, shapes, and styles. The classic Romanesque arch is a semicircle, built of stone or concrete. The Gothic arch from the 12th to 15th centuries has a pointed crown, allowing for more open spaces. Other arches include the basket handle arch, popular in Britain, which allowed a very broad opening. And in the East, overextended or Moorish arches appeared, with less structurally sound, but unique-looking forms. Although an arch's primary purpose is to support a load, its shape invited artistic innovations. As arch design progressed, the use of stone became a highly refined craft. The placement of stones, and especially the keystone, became a personal statement of the designer. A keystone is the last stone placed in a traditional arch. It's the stone that locks the arch into place. Keystones were traditionally made larger and more important looking than the other voussoirs, or arch stones. But surprisingly, this was largely a cosmetic choice. But being the last stone in the arch, the keystone does have one very special purpose. Without it, the arch will fall down.
This enormous structure, the aqueduct, that is several tiers high, was able to carry water over long distances. It began with larger span at the bottom and smaller spans at the top, because the smaller arc is more stable than the longer span arc. Colosseum, it was the arena of the emperor and the citizens of Rome, with over 600 feet across at its widest point and 160 feet high. It was used for gladiatorial battles, executions, and more. Pantheon. Its roof was the world's first large dome. Dome is a rounded vault forming the roof of a building or structure, typically with a circular base.
The roof of the Pantheon was the world's first large dome. It was an unprecedented accomplishment.
You could think of a dome as a series of arches that are all leaning on each other in the middle. But in addition to that, a dome acts as a series of hoops that surround the dome. So what prevents the dome from falling inward, there are arches in plan that are really circles that also can carry load in each ring of the dome as you build up.
The Pantheon has a traditional temple entrance, which opens to the great dome-covered interior. But there's a surprise once inside.
In the exact center of the dome, there's a hole that brings in light.
The 30-foot wide hole in the dome center, called an oculus, is a huge compression ring made of stone, which in effect is a series of arches forming a circle. The horizontal forces of the dome, which keep the structure stable, converge at the top. It was a daring move by the Roman engineers. The Pantheon was an amazing achievement.
Byzantine architecture of Byzantine Empire. The empire gradually evolved as a distinct country, its deep cultural entity, from what is today referred to as the Roman Empire after Constantinople. Byzantium had first been constructed in the time of Septimius Severus, not just a Roman city but modeled on Rome. As the Constantinople became the capital of the western part of the Roman Empire. Byzantium, the new Rome, was later renamed Constantinople and is now called Istanbul. The empire endured for more than a millennium, dramatically influential medieval and the Renaissance era architecture in Europe. In following the capture of Constantinople by the Ottoman Turks in 1453, leading direct to the architecture of the Ottoman Empire.
Early Christian architecture, how and why it was developed from the beginning after 400 AD. Christian architecture has changed the century from the side of the mountain to small room to monastery and to churches. During the 1st century, there was a column named the Trajan Column. The Trajan Column is well known because of the Trajan victory in the Dacian Wars. Trajan Column, of which one supported a bronze statue of the emperor. The column was the part of the monumental complex built by the Trajan. It is located at the north of the Basilica Utopia, between east and western. The Trajan Column is well known and was an important piece of Christian architecture. During the 2nd and 3rd century, they have churches that was called churches, and one known churches is the Dore Europa churches. The Dore Europa churches is identified as the earliest house churches in Peoria. In order to form one room 5 meters wide and 15 meters long, largest to accommodate a group of Christians who regularly gather for worship. During the 4th century, there were chapels and sanctuaries. Many of these buildings have similar distinctions to the temples and chapels from the 2nd and 3rd century temples and chapels. Christian architecture has changed and developed, and we learned also different ways from the beginning to the 400 AD.
Now that we have learned what this unique structure in the ancient civilization was all about, we now realize how important this structure under Emperor ruled the world. Oh my God! Tapos na!
Tama kayo sa...
May binibidyo ka rin?
Oh.
Ay, nako.